Hello friends. Now we get to the most controversial and enigmatic portion of Ben Hogan's wonderful book, the downswing. And of course it's the most important part because it's the bit that hits the ball. So he had already established that he thought that the plane of swing, as he described it, was like a plate of glass where the hole was cut for the head and the bottom edge was sitting on the line going through the ball to the target. But on the downswing, he said that that pane of glass was actually now shifted so that the bottom edge was going to the right of the target, and the whole thing was a little what he described as flatter. Flatter meant more like a carousel and less like a Ferris wheel. So he thought that the arms attacked along a slightly modified plane as they went to the ball. Now, this was encouraged by the expression that was becoming growingly more characteristic of the game, which is in to out. In to out meaning that the club would attack the ball from this side of the target line, go through the ball and go to the right, just as he had depicted with that pane of glass going to the right. Now, he was quite explicit that that's how the downswing should be accomplished. I hesitate because, in fact, it was by other champions and great authors described more as a feeling. Ben Hogan didn't say that, so I'm thinking of Percy Boomer particularly. So he wanted the attack to be in to out, and it has long been believed, almost dogmatically, that an in to out swing, as it's described, is a cure for slicing. Slicing being a ball that ends up in the right trees, either straight or more commonly with a curve. Now the problem is this. Most people inherently believe that the task in golf with this flat surface on the end of a stick is to use it to drive the ball up a ramp toward the target. Now, for you to keep that club face looking up that target, and particularly going to the right, following his recommendation, then you're going to be vulnerable because the impact with the ball will easily deflect the club. The club can't resist the impact. And the drag of the club is, of course, contributing to that, not to mention any contact with the ground. And so the tendency is to hit the ball higher and to the right of where you want to go. Quite the opposite of fixing a slice. You're actually almost guaranteeing that the ball ends up in the right trees. And so in the late 80s, I and a few other golf instructors around the world were starting to feel dissatisfied by this notion of an in-to-out swing and come up with an alternative that resonated better with our clients. And I described it as a descending spiral. Very famously, Corey Pavin, a US Open champion and Ryder Cup captain, was taught by his college coach to do precisely what I concocted, which is a descending spiral, a three-dimensional object where not only was the club going down, but going around one, and the club face was not being used as a guide to go up a ramp, but being allowed to turn like a gate all through the downswing, which made it better able to resist the impact with the ball and therefore propel it and not go off to the right. So not a ramp, more a spiral.